another day of working on the cabin. Did we talk about the orange fencing? That's to keep the grandkids from falling. I got a spot to fill in, but it's just there's some tree stumps there that I need to cut out and get moved. And some logs on the other side of that need to be moved. So I will. I'll get to that. But that's not what today is about. Today is about plumbing. I'm going to do the rough-in plumbing for this bathroom. I've got a shower going in right there, and then the toilet, and then the sink will be there, and that there is the sump for the grinder pump. And the reason I got to have a grinder pump here is because the septic system will be up in here, and so it's going to have to pump it up and out since water flows downhill. But I'm trying to find out exactly where that's going to go. I'm going to run it straight out from where the toilet goes, and I've got to dig. It's looking like I'm going to need to dig down about 1.5 feet, maybe close to 2 feet to put that in, and then I'll dig a trench, get a trench across there to tie in to right here, this hole here. I need to get that, and you can see I've got a T here. That T is for the shower to tie into, and I've got that piece there. That'll be the elbow down, and then I've got a T, this T here, to go from the shower. Well, I'll run the sink to the shower. And I got this little adapter here. It's for a 2-inch to 1.25 inches. And the 1.25 inches will run from the sink all the way over here and tee into that 2-inch, and then I'll elbow into that 4-inch right there. And of course we'll show you that when it's all done. And it's probably just going to be a picture, because this is going to take me a little bit of time to figure all this out. But we'll get it figured out. And because I've never done this before, so we're going to have fun trying to figure it out. But yeah, I'll certainly share each step with you along the way. And but I'm going to go ahead and get off of here and start kind of looking at this, laying this out, and getting my measurements to cut the pipe for all this, and setting my elevations, because I want to make sure that everything is from top of concrete. This line here, I don't know if you can see this line right here. Where's my hand? Yeah, there it is. That line right there is set to concrete, top of concrete slab. So that's all. And I don't need to, the only thing I need to figure in here is I'll have it recessed for the shower, for a shower pan and the tile itself, because basically this is going to be a walk-in shower, no curb, no nothing. The floor in here in the bathroom will be exposed concrete. I will do some acid stain to it at some point down the road, but it'll be a walk-in shower. The tile that I'll have in the shower will match the top of concrete, and really that's about it, unless we decide not to do tile in the shower on the floor, but I'll need to do something there, so but we'll figure something out. But anyway, and yeah, that's it for now. Well, let's go over here. I'll show you. I got that there is the water line where the water will be coming into the house. I'm going to do a 90 on that here today and get that above concrete, and that'll tie into a pump that will pump it throughout the house. And then I've got electrical conduit coming up through the footing. You can see right here, I've got that coming up. That's the conduit for the electrical. I'll come up under the footing and I'll come up, and then I'm going to go this direction for the panel. We'll get to that another day. Hello everybody. All right, so just going to kind of catch you up to speed here where I'm at. Oh, look at this. Oh, that's looking out the basement, huh? That's the view every night. Oh my gosh. That's just crazy. Anyway, oh, that's just awesome. What's that deal there? Anyway, let me catch you up to speed here of where I'm at. So I finished the underground plumbing. So here we've got the sump pit where the grinder pump will go. That grinder pump's like $600. Insane. And then the toilet there, and that's for the drain for the shower. And then this here is the drain for the sink. It's obviously long. I'll have to cut it and I'll run it alongside the wall here once I get the wall built. And then I've got a drain right there in the utility room, and I'll slope the concrete down to that so with water. But if you see that black pipe right there, right there, yeah, the red tape on it, that's going to be the water main coming in. And then if you look a little bit further this way, or no, yeah, right there, that's where the electric will come from. The power will come through there. I'll run it up, and over on the wall there'll be a box, or I may run it there. But the main water that'll come out of there, but I'm going to run it this way a little bit and tie it into the pump. So I thought I was going to run, and then I'm running electric here to right there. I've already got a stub out underneath the footing there, and that will come up on the side of the house for the garage. Look at this. Oh yeah, buddy. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I got, this is actually all ready to grade right here, the bathroom area. I've still got it rained last night quite a bit, so I couldn't get any sand in here today, because I got about 2-3 inches of sand to put in, and then on top of the sand I will put styrofoam insulation. That will be that way because I'm doing floor heat, and then I can run my PEX tubing. Well, I'll put vapor barrier down first. So another thing I did today was I got a table set up. I got my toolboxes out here with all my tools so I can keep them out here locked up. And then I actually took a little time. Now the 2x6s that I used to pour the footings, well, I'm using them again. So that there I framed up. I'll clean it up a little bit. You can see there's a little bit of concrete on there yet, but I'll clean that up and scrape that stuff off, just kind of clean it up. But I'll use those for the framing coming off my foundation wall up to, and then I'll put a seal plate on there for the floor joist to sit on. But that's one section, and I've got a couple more sections I need to build. So I'm reclaiming, if you will, the 2x6s I used for my footings. So I'll do that a lot on different things. But that's kind of where I'm at, just kind of up to speed here. In a few days I'll order some forms and for the walls, and we'll get started on the walls. But for now, guys, I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna just go sit down, and of course I'm gonna take a picture of that. Just a great sunset every single night. But we'll see you guys later. Have a good night. Bye. Hello, my friends. All right, so you can kind of see I've got a little more graded here. I got that up to sun's in my eyes. Got this area graded to just below sand. So I got to put 2 inches of sand. Well, I'll put 2 inches of sand. Then I'll put my thermal break, my vapor barrier down, and then the foam. But for right now, I'm getting forms tomorrow, and I'm putting a plate down. If you look down here, I got a 2x6 plate. Usually use 2x4s, but I've got 2x6s, multiple use. Used them for footings. Now I'm using them for a nail plate or base plate to hold my forms in. So when I set my forms, they'll sit right up against that 2x4 and that 2x6, and that'll keep the form from going in. And then once I get my form set, I'll put another one on the outside. So I'm nailing those down to the concrete with a powder actuated tool. And what a powder actuated tool is it's basically a gun. How about that sunset, huh? Yeah. You see that? That is a power shot. It's a number 4. Number 5s are red, and those are more powerful, but I just needed a number 4 to get through these footings because they're still fairly new, but they seem to be working. And what you do is you basically put that in that little hole right there, and then close it up. And let's see if I can do this. And then you take a nail, it's a 3-inch nail, and you put that down inside there like that. And then you simply, here, let me go ahead and demonstrate for you. All right, so let me get a shot, put a power shot in there, close it, put my nail in there, okay? It's loaded. What do I got coming down here? Oh, it's just a tractor moving along here. Anyway, so I've got a line chalked down to the footing here, and I've got so you probably can't see that, but I've got a line. Let's see if I can. Alright, so that's on line right there, and I'll simply put this in, push it in, and shoot. Dangerous tool. In fact, on a lot of commercial or industrial construction sites, you must have a certification training to run one of these. So I picked this up many years ago, 20-some years ago. But anyway, so yeah, I just do that. I put them about every 3 feet and nail that down. So, but I'm going to go ahead and continue getting that down. And I'll come back tomorrow. Another thing I did is kind of graded out the area out there, the yard. That's going to be a retaining wall on the other side of that dirt. That's sitting probably 5-6 feet above the ground down below. So I'll turn that into some sort of retaining wall later on. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and get these, and tomorrow we'll come back and start setting box blocks. Big Legos. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. Hello, my friends. All right, so today is a good day. What do we got here? Look at that. See that right there? Those are what they call box blocks. It's an ICF, an insulated concrete form. Right there. That's the Fox Block brand. I am super excited about this. Yeah, I've only got half of them here right now, but kind of see. So these will, they pretty much stack like Legos, and so really super simple to use for homeowners. Although I could set about any type of foundation form there is. In fact, I think I've done about every form there is, you know, with my career being in the concrete industry. But you guys, I'm excited to get this started. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of start taking some of this apart and kind of throwing a few pieces together, and I'll catch up to you guys in a little bit. All right. I'd gotten my forms and I started stacking them up without having everything I needed, and just because I got excited and really wanted to just play with them a little bit. And well, I ended up taking them down, and I'm glad I did. And I kind of stacked them, well, I stacked them a little bit nicer than that. But the wind kind of knocked them, threw them around. They didn't really throw them around, they just kind of knocked down the stacks I'd made. But well, of course I put some of them where they're at now, but all right, I got a heap of mess right there. So I kind of took some of the ones down. The second course, I was going to leave 2 courses up, figuring I can reach down and get the rebar and clips in, but it was just too difficult, so I took another course off. But let's, I want to show you guys what I'm doing here. Of course, I've got right here, that's my rebar cutter and rebar bender. So I'm doing bar right now. Now, when you look at the videos and stuff of people doing these, it just seems like, and I think even in the directions it says just drop the rebar down in there, which is fine, but as you can see, my footings, I put rebar in the footings at at 2 foot center. Well, here, let me show you what I did here. So in the corner, I stuck one right here in the corner, and I come 8 inches, because that's what the cells are. And then of course you go, well, 16-inch increments, 32 inches. But because of the continuous concrete in these, you can see I went 2 foot centers. I wanted them closer, but I didn't want them 16, so I just went ahead and went 2 foot. But what I'm going to do is these ones will be tied. These are in, and I'll tie these to the rebar coming up. But when I get to the top, I will actually drop more rebar in there, and I don't know if you can see or not, but there's these little tabs. There's some little tabs right here. That tab there, and there's one down below that on the other side. And so when you put a piece of rebar next to this tab here, you got to line them up, and it'll lock into the other one down there as well. So that way, that rebar will stay in the wall. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take some time to cut my bars where I need them and tie them in on the way up, just to be sure that they don't move. I mean, they shouldn't, but and you can see I've got my bottom bar down here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I got that bottom bar in, and I've got that tied in to my vertical rebar coming out of the footings as well. I'm going the extra mile because, well, it's my house. and I'm obviously familiar with concrete work, foundations and things like that, so I'm going to go ahead and go the extra mile and tie, make everything secure. So, but you can kind of see I started putting that down. I got my bottom bar in. I'm going to go ahead and put another course of block of the foam block on, and then I'll tie another piece of bar in on that. I'm going to go at 2 foot centers. I came up 4 inches off the footing for the first one, and I'll go every 2 feet for now. So I don't know if I can put this somewhere here where you can actually watch me put some of this on. Alright, let me grab this, and it'll probably be easier if I show you on an end here. That makes it a little bit easier to see here. Jump over here. So whenever you stack these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these clips, and you can kind of see how you got the web here and web here. So at that point, I'm going to go ahead and hook that in like that. Pull up here, and clip that in like that, and that pulls these, pulls those together. I hope you guys can see that. And then that way it'll hold the first course, the second course together, sandwich them together. And again, there's another way I'm going to be securing them once I get them all stacked up and plumb. And then I'll start supporting them even more than just that. And of course, I'm not going to take the time to really mark where I've done that. It's just that every seam and every joint, I'm going to do something to secure those. So in some places it'll be secured 2 different ways. One more thing I want to show you here. I got this bar coming out right here, and I've got some more bars, and I'm going to tie them in. I'll drill a hole through the foam so that bar can go in there, and then I've got a bend on it, so it bends into the wall and it's tied on to the bar down below. And I don't know if you can see that, but I've got that tied in, and it's because later on I'm going to be doing a concrete wall inside the basement here. It'll go from this point around, and it'll tie back in over on that side as well. Because what I'm doing is I'm making a storm room or a storm cellar. It's basically going to be a complete concrete room with a storm door on it, and then it's going to have a concrete lid on top as well, which will also serve as my floor for my laundry room and mud room, in which I will do some decorative concrete in that room for that floor, so it'll look really cool. But we're a long ways away from that. But so I just want to, there's two ways to do this. You can come back later when you're ready to do that, and you can drill an epoxy rebar into the concrete. But I don't want to do that. I want the stuff to be tied in and poured in the concrete with it. And then so I'll go ahead and put that bar in, a reinforcement in those two locations up the wall for later. And then when I am ready to do that, then I will simply, and it'll be sometime this winter, and then I'll simply cut the foam where that wall's going to be, and that way I can have concrete on concrete, if that makes any sense at all. So that's another thing I'm doing. But you guys, I'm going to get going and get rolling on this, and we'll come back in a while and show you the progress for the day. See you guys later. Bye. All right, everybody, it's oh goodness, I don't know, 8:30 or something like that, maybe, I don't know. So what I got done today is this. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but there's a lot of work that we talked a little bit about early on as I started. How about that, huh? Here, let's see. The best part of the sunset's already gone, so, but what's really cool, my little granddaughter is saying hi. And then I got two more grandkids right up there, yeah, 3 of them. Anyway, there's the sunset-ish. But you can see kind of the fog moving in. It's pretty wet out there, so a lot of humidity going on right now. But that's it's really cool. But there's my view. That'll be my view every night. We talk about that all the time. But anyhow, so I've got everything clipped. One thing I didn't go over is setting, using the powder actuated tool, putting that down. But let's go ahead and look here. So this is going to be a bulkhead. This is where I'm stopping it right here. But I got all the clips in there. You can see I got a board right here. So there's a step. There's a step right there. If you look behind me, there's 3 steps, and I've got a bulkhead there, and up there. So we're 8 foot, and then we dropped to 6'8", and then 5'4", and then 4 foot. And I'll carry this 4 foot on out to the corner, and well, yeah, I'll carry that 4 foot out to the corner. But anyhow, so once I got all the forms set, and then I plumbed them up and checked for level and everything. And it's pretty dang good, actually. So I don't know who did these footings, but they did a pretty good job. So thanks Jeremy, Paul, and Travis Labby, and of course myself. But after you go through, and you can kind of see I got some foam, some spray foam here, and in certain spots you can see where I got spray foam. That's because there was a little bit of a gap where the edge was rounded off on the form. Here, let me show you, like right here. See how this kind of rounded off right here? So when that comes across, there's that gap right there. And so what I do is I go around there and I fill those in with some spray foam. And then of course on the bottom as well, wherever there's a gap, like right here where my power is going to come in, there was kind of a gap there. So I filled that in with spray foam. and then I went ahead and went on to the other side, on this back side, and put that plate down and nailed that plate down so the bottoms will not move at all when I pour concrete in this, and so that's a good thing. And then I've still got to get a bunch of 2x4s and stuff for bracing and kicking it and making sure that none of it moves. But it's all pretty solid right now. It's pretty good deal. But I've got those corners in, but they're obviously not set right because you're supposed to stagger them. But I just kind of stuck them over there for now. I've just got to I got to buy some more forms, and I only bought about half of what I needed. But that will continue. That whole wall right there will continue that height, that 8 foot, all the way across to about there, and then we'll step down and we'll step around the corner and we'll come down, and then I'll step down again coming through here. And then once the concrete's all done, all poured, then what I'll do is I've got to do the waterproofing, and I got to put a drain tile down here at the footing and get some rock and put it in there. So we got some good drainage, and then where these steps are, I'll form. You can kind of see a box form up there. I've already built that. That'll go on top, so that way this is all the same elevation around there. That way I can, once I get my base plate on, then I can put floor joists on. But we're still a little ways away from that yet. But that's kind of the plan. And but yeah, that's what we did today. We got that done and used up all the forms I had, and so now it's going to order more forms. Anyway, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.